Hey you, my name is Al Gross, WB0AL, and behind me is the Rolling Homeless Shelter. This is the truck my wife and I drive. It's a 42-foot long truck. It's 13 feet 6 inches, and we live and work right here. This truck really isn't practical for ham radio. I had an HF radio in here, but it's just too big. It's a fiberglass body, it's bulky, and the onboard computers make a lot of noise. So when I'm off duty, I look around and try to find a place where I can do ham radio. I'm in Pelham, Alabama, and I'm at the Sleep Inn, and I'm looking for a place where I could set up an antenna and set up my radios, and there are several very nice places. I run battery power, so I can set up just about anywhere I want. There's the truck, and I'm looking at this grassy area. There are two grassy areas. There's this area right here, and there's no electricity, but I have a battery that is amazing. I've run that battery for 7 hours using 100 watts, and it still has enough energy I could probably run it another 5 hours. Behind the hotel, there's a large strip, and it's right next to my room, and we might put the setup there. That way I can, my wife can hand me a sandwich out the window. This is our hotel room, and right out here, we're on the first floor. Here's a window, and you can see there's not a whole lot of room, but if the weather was raining or snowy or basically miserable, I would open the window. This is easily moved, and I would put my antenna outside and I could operate from here. But what I will do, I'm either going to operate right here from this strip, or I'll operate from the area I just showed you a moment ago. After scoping out the lay of the land, I decided that I'm going to set up right there in that strip. Here's my antenna. It's the Wolf River coils, and I'll go into detail on this someday, but I put it up on top of a levee, as you can see. The height doesn't really give me any advantage. Here's my operating system. The main reason I put it here is that there's a chain link fence, and I don't want my signal to be affected by the chain link fence, and I don't want it to be affected by that light standard. And so putting it on top, out of the way of the levee, is probably the best place to put it. When we wake up in the morning, we like to check the weather forecast. Well, there's a weather forecast of sorts for ham radio operators, and this is it. Solar terrestrial data. What is the sun doing? Sunspots, solar flares, and it tells us how band operations are supposed to be. Now, if I were transmitting from home, this wouldn't be so important. I'd be going on the bands and seeing if anybody is there anyway. But since I'm setting up from two different boxes and setting up notes and batteries and everything, if everything is poor, I'm not going to waste my time. But you can see that on 40 and 80 meters, it is good. And good is good. And so I'll be transmitting on 40 meters, and it should be hopping. It should be, I hope it will be impressive. I want to show you something. This is my radio. This is the FT857D by Yaesu. And up on top, you can see an SWR meter. SWR means standing wave ratio. And let me get real close up. And I'm going to show you there are 2 meters. Right now, I have bad SWR, and that's bad for the radio, but I'm only going to show you this once. 2 meters come up. You can see the one on the left. This one shows you my power. The one on the right is reflected power, how much power is coming back into the radio. You want that to be down here in under 2. So there's 2, that's acceptable, all the way down to 1. Anything over 2, anything to the left of my thumb, is bad for the radio, and you don't want that. But I'm using real low power. But you can see it's almost eternity. It's 5.5 to 1 SWR, which means too much power is going back into the radio. You'll burn out the final tubes. You'll burn out the transmitter tubes if your SWR is too high. So I have my antenna set to 40 meters, and 40 meter band is it's one of my 2 favorite bands. This allows you to talk to people all over the United States, basically North America. But during sunrise and sunset, it's called the gray line, you can talk around the world. Sometimes you can talk around the world depending upon how band conditions are. But I'm going to transmit here, and you can see that this meter is showing less. I did it wrong. This is my radio. This is my SWR meter. The radio is the Yaesu 857D, and the SWR meter stands for Standing Wave Ratio. When you operate, you want to make sure that your antenna is resonant. In other words, it's cut to the frequency you want. And this is very important, because if it's cut to the wrong frequency, you can blow out your transmitting tubes. They're called finals, your transmitting tubes. So we're looking at forward and reflected power. Forward is how much power the radio itself is transmitting. Reflected power is the power that comes back. You want it to be 2 to 1 or less. So you're looking at the number 2 or less. That's acceptable. Anything over that is unacceptable. And I, for just a short moment, am on a band that is not resonant, just to kind of exaggerate and show you what I'm looking for. This is running 8 watts. There's 8 watts reflected power, and I'm running over 5 watts reflected power. That is bad SWR, it's bad for my radio. But we go to 40 meters where we're supposed to be, and it is resonant on 40. You can see that where I am on the edge of the band, it's about 1.6 to 1. That's very acceptable, and as we go up toward the other end of the band, it's almost perfect 1-to-1 SWR. So that's exactly where we want to be. We're going to transmit about 85 watts. I can transmit up to 100 watts, but the Yaesu 857D is famous or infamous for bad finals. So it's a known condition. I run a little bit less power than I should, just to kind of baby the finals. I've had this radio a long time, and part of the reason I've had it a long time is because I'm good to it. I run 100 watts sometimes, but most of the time you're not going to notice any difference in your signal strength when you're just dealing with 15 watts. One of the things that makes ham radio fun are contests, and some people love contests, some people hate them. I'm kind of neutral on them, although I do like Parks on the Air. You'll hear that a lot. But right now, the Illinois QSO party is happening. That's what you're hearing right here. And people in Illinois, hams in Illinois, are trying to make contact, and the rules are varied. But there are people who are called county hunters, and they're trying to get all of the counties in a particular state. And there is a contest. If you get every county in the United States, it's a big accomplishment, and you get a big reward. And by the way, it's not a cash reward, it's wallpaper. It's something you can hang up on the wall. So we have a guy in Peoria, Illinois. He's
with Delta 9, Charlie, India,
And this will be my first call of the day. Let's see if I can make it to Peoria, Illinois from Pelham in Pelham, Alabama.
New York, thank you, 73. QRZ, Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo.
Whiskey Bravo 0, Alpha Lima.
Kilo Echo 8, Golf, book, Kilo Echo 8, Lima Golf November, is that right? That's a Roger, and you're a 5-9 plus into West Virginia, Whiskey Victor. All right, 5-9 Peoria, PEOR, thank you. QRZ, Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo.
Whiskey Bravo 0, Alpha Lima.
Whiskey Alpha 6, Whiskey Victor Mike, 5-9 Peoria. Okay, I've got you booked. I've got you correct. Whiskey Alpha 6, Whiskey X-ray Mike in Colorado. Roger. All right, thank you. QRZ. Whiskey Alpha 6, Papa Oscar Zulu, 5-9 Peoria, POR. Florida, thank you, 7-3. QRZ, Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo.
WB0, AL.
Again?
WB0, AL.
Okay, several of you. Whiskey 2, Tango, India, Oscar, 5-9 Peoria. New York, okay, got New York. Thank you. QRZ.
Whiskey Bravo 0, Alpha Lima.
Kilo 4, Bravo Bravo Hotel, 5-9 Peoria. Okay, 5-9 Georgia. My call sign is Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo. Thank you, 7-3. QRZ, Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo with the Illinois QSO party.
WB0, AL.
Whiskey Bravo 0, Mike, Oscar, Romeo. Okay, Whiskey Bravo 0, Mike, Oscar, Romeo, 5-9, Peoria, PEOR. Here, 5-9, it's Damascus, Maryland, over. Mike Delta, thank you, 7-3, QRZ, Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo.
Whiskey Bravo 0, Alpha Lima.
Kilo 3, Bravo, Oscar, Alpha, 5-9, Peoria. 5-9, Whiskey Victor, thank you. QRZ, Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo.
WB0, AL.
Whiskey 2, Foxtrot, and I missed the rest. Whiskey 2, Foxtrot, Delta, 5-9, Peoria County, PEOR. Pennsylvania, thank you, 7-3, QRZ.
WB0, Alpha Lima.
Kilo Echo 0, Lima Oscar Tango, 5-9, Peoria, PEOR. Kansas, thank you, QRZ.
WB0, AL, Alabama.
Something ending in Echo Golf, what's the whole call? Okay, what's the letter after the 1? Kilo Echo 1, something Echo Golf. Is it Golf, Echo Golf? All right, Kilo 1, Golf Echo Golf 5-9, Peoria, POR. I need your state. Massachusetts, got you in the log. Thank you for your patience there. QRZ, this is Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie, India, Romeo.
WB0, AL.
Whiskey Bravo 0,
Whiskey Bravo Zero Alpha Lima, Al in Alabama.
Whiskey Bravo Zero Alpha something?
Whiskey Bravo Zero Alpha Lima, Alpha Lima. You are 5'8" in Alabama.
Okay, I gotta still work this out. I got the 5'8", I got the Alabama, I got Whiskey Bravo Zero Alpha. I need the last two letters.
Lima, L, Lima.
So is it Whiskey Bravo Zero Alpha Lima? Is that it?
That is correct. Roger, roger.
Roger, roger. Thank you. It's getting lighter to copy here, but you're in the log. Thank you. Yours is. This is Whiskey Delta 9, Charlie India Romeo with the Illinois QSO Party. Anybody anywhere?
You can see right there, he's S7, S8.
There we go. 89 DBQ, 59.
You'll notice this station is pretty weak. He's in Missouri, and he's in part of Missouri I've never heard of, Wilson's Creek National Battlefield. I'm going to try to see if I can pick him up from Alabama. WB0AL. Whiskey Bravo Zero Alpha Lima. Name is Al, and I am in Alabama. Even though I live in Missouri, I'm in Alabama today, and you are a 5'5", over.
All right, thank you, Al, for the 5'5" in Alabama. I live in Wisconsin, so I'm out of state myself right now anyway. Thanks for coming back to me in 7-3. This is Q&I, Mike Electro calling CQ Park on the air.
When I was 4 years old, I decided I wanted to get into commercial radio. And I wanted to be a disc jockey. And I was always a radio listener. When I was about 10 years old, we got a shortwave radio. And ham radio picks up the shortwave bands. And they're still around.
Focus on Romania. You are listening to Radio Romania International.
Coming up next in today's broadcast, it's all that jazz with me, Anna School. Today we talk
This
about
is Radio Romania. And it's coming from Romania, broadcasting around the world. You know, in the age of internet, we don't think about that, but when I was young, and this is really what captured my imagination and made me want to get into radio and do ham radio, we used to listen to radio stations from around the world on shortwave, just like this. It was during the Cold War, and when you'd listen to Radio Romania, it was a little bit different. They talked about their dear leader, and we'd listen to Radio Pyongyang in North Korea. We'd listen to Radio Havana, Cuba. We'd listen to Radio Moscow, and the shortwave broadcasters, they're not as common as they used to be in the age of the internet, but this is Romania, and they're still around. It was a good day in Pelham, Alabama, and you can tell it's been a good night. And here is the radio. I'm going to go ahead and start tearing everything down. But we made 10 contacts today. I talked to a few people in the Illinois QSO Party. I had a nice chat with Maryland. Parks on the Air, Maryland, Missouri, Michigan. And so we got out pretty far on our little antenna and our little portable setup. But this is what we got to listen to shortwave radio. Listen to Radio Romania. So it's been a good day. Band conditions were pretty good. And as we get closer to the sunspot cycle, things are going to get even better. So here we are, Pelham, Alabama. Where are we going to be next time? I have no idea. I don't even know where my next load is going to be. But in the meantime, God bless you. We'll see you wherever we happen to be. God bless you, 73. WB0AL, clear.